Yep, so the recording is started. So I'd like to just officially welcome everyone to the Stanford Alumni Activities Fair hosted by FLAN. My name is Jennifer Telshow, you, she, her, hers, and I'm one of the co-presidents of FLAN, which is the first generation and/or low-income alumni network. This event is one of the featured events in our AlumFly series for graduating and recently graduated FLY students. Welcome all alumni to kind of get to know what offerings are out there. So our focus today is on getting to know just a very small portion of the many alumni groups that are out there. So to do that, we'll get started with group presentations. Each group will present a little bit about who they are and what they do. We'll then move into, we'll have a few minutes for Q&A. If you have general questions or specific questions for a few groups, and then we'll move into breakout rooms after that, where you'll be able to talk directly with club leaders. Did want to say if you have questions for Q&A throughout the presentations, you can submit them in the chat box or directly to myself or to Clara Liu, who's also with FLAN and is helping out today. And we'll be sure to make sure they're asked during the Q&A session. Before we get started with the presentations, I did just want to acknowledge and thank some of the Stanford Alumni Association staff members for being here. Many of our club advisors are here to help and support us, so I wanted to acknowledge that and thank you for being here. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and get us started with the group presentation. So first, we will start with FLAN, and I'm going to hand it over to my co-president, Chris Middleton.
Hey y'all, we're super excited to have you join us. Like Jennifer said, my name is Chris Middleton. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm the other co-president of FLAN. I am an undergrad, a FLY undergrad alum of 2016, and I'm currently finishing I'm entering my third year of law school, class of 21. And so I wanted to share a little bit about FLAN. Hopefully all of you that are here and are FLY alumni or current students are already familiar with us, but we're really focused on connecting, inspiring, supporting, advocating, and celebrating all of the first gen and/or low income or FLY alumni. And we're really focused on rebuilding and refurbishing and strengthening our relationship with Stanford. And so in our alumni group, we are really focused on finding ways to bring together students, young alumni, and our more wise alumni who had very different experiences of being FLY on campus. And we appreciate opportunities to bring those stories to light and celebrate them, but then also to help to heal and address some of the things that might have been an issue while you were a student. And so throughout that process, I think we're all able to better support each other and learn from each other. And we're excited to have folks be a part of that process. And so on the slide, you'll see linked a lot of our social media that I hope you've had the chance to peruse. I know a lot of people, especially Jennifer, put a lot of time and effort into it. If you can go to the next slide, Clara. So some of what we've done, hopefully you've got the chance to attend. We hold a lot of really fun social events like our pajama brunch. We've been putting a lot of time and effort into improving financial literacy in the FLY community. And we have another event this week that's focused on the basics of investing. We also are really focused on opportunities to collect with the FLY community. And so working with FLIP, or the FLY office or other alumni groups and other campus partners in order to support the FLY community at Stanford and the alumni community has been really, really impactful. We've also focused on the AlumFly series and supporting our graduating students. And so this is definitely part of that. I know from my own experience, learning more about the alumni clubs that existed at Stanford that can help support you after you graduate has been really, really meaningful. I think a lot of us have intersectional identities, and finding groups and clubs that support us is really important. So hopefully, I hope that you can find some groups that I wish I knew about earlier on in my time as a Stanford alum, and I hope you get to take advantage of meeting them. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Clara, Jennifer, and I, and we'd be happy to answer them. And I'll end it there, and we'll move on to our next group.
Hi everyone, my name is Maya Cruz. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the current president of SIAA, or Stanford Indigenous Alumni Association. I'm really glad you're all here. I'm glad I got the opportunity to spend some time with you all and with some fellow club memberships. So the purpose of SIAA, we're sort of in the middle of our first year of reestablishing our structures. We had a renaming so that we could be more inclusive of all Indigenous identities, and really thinking through how we want to structure a more inclusive and welcoming membership. So we are here to honor and connect and support our Indigenous Stanford alumni community in all of its diversity. So in that interest, we definitely want to plan more cultural, social, educational, and professional interactions for us, and a great chance to meet one another. And sort of as we were just hearing from our partners, we have a lot of intersectional identities, so definitely more stuff like this where we get to spend time with one another and collaborate and come together. So really what our biggest focus right now, since this is our sort of new structured year, is we're really thinking about how we want to build communities, and especially our regional communities within our existing membership, but also expanding our club membership. So we're really glad to meet you all and hope we get to know some of you. Some of our events that we're having now is we're preparing for our big 50th anniversary of SAIAA, or Stanford American Indian Organization. So we're collaborating on some events to celebrate that massive milestone for our community. And so there's a lot of events coming up with that. And then also we, on a smaller scale, we try to do some virtual events like this, but also doing virtual events where we're doing things similar to Dinner Off the Farm, where we connect current alumni with, or students with, current students with alumni, so that you have a smaller space to get to know one another, ask questions, and build some relationships. And so that's kind of a nice social space to be in. And we have some stuff in the works for when the globe gets back to a space where we can all be in person with one another. And we look forward to it, which includes powwow. So if you've been to Stanford powwow, plug, you'll see a lot of us there. That tends to serve as our version of homecoming. So you see a lot of Indigenous alums there. Yeah, and then finally we have an event coming up. We'll have some details on our club page, both on our Facebook page and the alumni platform, for getting to know the new board and letting us kind of share time and space with all of you and get to know you and see what we can do to help be supportive in your alumni journey. So that's all I've got for today, but feel free to come reach out. Looking forward to meeting more of you.
Classic Zoom problem and forgetting to unmute myself. So here we go again. My name is April Bell. I'm class of 95. I'm one of the current co-chairs of the Stanford Alumni Women's Impact Network. We are, I believe, and maybe one of the SA folks can correct me, but we are one of the only Stanford groups committed to gender equity, social justice, and feminism. And we're open to all Stanford alumni classes, students and alumni, and we really build our programming around feminism, social justice, and community building. And to that end, if we can go to the next slide. We have a lot of educational things, educational sort of personal development. We've done panels on servant leadership, like what it looks like. We've done panels, advice to recent graduates, where we have recent grads come in and sort of talk about their transition from student life to quote unquote real life. We do a book club every quarter. And so we take input from our larger community to figure out which books we should read. In the past, we've read like Michelle Obama's Becoming. We read Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow, which is, if you've read it, it's a very heavy book, but we had some really good discussion around it. Right now, WIN has about 500, almost 600 members through the Stanford Alumni page. We have a pretty active Facebook group. We're trying to be more active on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And so we have a monthly newsletter that goes out. We haven't missed 1 month in the last 3 years. And so it comes out with what our programming is, we usually have a did you know sort of section to kind of highlight various issues. We sponsor Beyond the Farm events every year, not this year, obviously. We have all our events virtual. So before COVID, we were a virtual group because we are all over. We have members in Europe, we have members in Sub-Saharan Africa, we have members all across the United States. And so we usually have everything virtual except for 2 events, our annual impact retreats, which are usually focused on professional and or personal development. This year, obviously, COVID did not allow us to have those, so we didn't. We have coming up a book club discussion on white fragility. It'll be sometime in August. We're still working with our presenter to like figure out our facilitator and figure out the time. We have a panel that's coming up in September that we're super excited about, marking 100 years of women's suffrage, and we have Amy Allison, who's recently confirmed that she will be a part of it, so it's going to be super exciting. You should join us on September 23rd. And if you can just go to the last slide really quickly, it'll show you all the ways you could be in contact with us through our website, Facebook, LinkedIn. The most important thing for you all, though, is to go to the Stanford Alumni Association portal and join us there, because then you get on our mailing list and we tell you about everything that we're doing. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I can't give you my undivided attention today, but my name is Chris Gourier. I'm involved in another meeting right now that's going over from work until about 6, so it's kind of a critical, important meeting. But definitely want to talk to you guys about the Stanford National Black Alumni Association. We are a parent organization, we're a child organization of SAAA. There are sister organizations in most of the major cities. Stanford Black Alumni Associations called local chapters. So there's one here in Southern Cal, there's one up in Northern Cal, New York. Those are separate organizations. So if you want to get involved with people and actually go and see people more frequently, you definitely want to join a local club. But in order to participate in our activities or to get our communications, you have to also join the national club. So there are 2 memberships for folks who want to join the Black Alumni. I hope everyone can hear me, by the way, too. So next slide, please. Okay, so just like Chris mentioned, we are trying to foster that engagement with the university, strengthen the bonds within the community that we serve, as well as deliver compelling programming. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on this slide. This is actually listed on the website. This is our mission statement that we try to honor in everything that we do. So it's not just some words on the paper or on the website. If you can go to the next slide. Some of the activities that I thought you would be interested in, we have anchor events on the right side where you see the pictures. So every other year we have a Black Alumni Summit, and the next one was supposed to be in 2021, but because of COVID, we've had to delay that until 2022, tentatively. Also in the alternative years, we have SNBAA participates in the SIAA camp during the summertime, around June timeframe. And there are a lot of activities, that engage families. So typically families will go to that, but still young alumni or recent grads are welcome to attend that as well. And then every year we support the reunion homecoming. The last few years we've been doing a tailgate. And then for the longest time, we do the after party at the BCSC. So those are kind of our anchor events. But again, I talked about that mission statement. It's just not words on paper. And so what we're trying to do is provide more content through SNBAA Learn that is basically curated from the Stanford Black experience. So it's either people on campus or people related to Stanford. That's something we just started gearing up in May. So that's a new initiative, and we want to drive people to that, that website. We have alumni office hours where alums who have experience in industry or in certain professional or graduate schools can chat with young alums or current students and answer their questions and then form those connections. Beyond the Farm is a volunteer activity that Stanford puts on every year, and SNBAA helps coordinate that among the local chapters. Black Graduation, again, this year we just did a video tribute, but we're trying to build our presence there to try to have more compelling messages or interaction with the graduating students. So I mentioned that as something that the young alums or the recent graduates may want to come back or participate in that with us to help, again, welcome the new graduates to our community, but also give them some inspiring words or some other type of a programming versus just, hey, join our society or join our association. We also just recently launched and we'll be publishing a Black business directory. I know I'm running out of time. Those are our social media links. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And again, I apologize. You know, if you can go back, I'm sorry, just real quick. This is a couple of things because social media, you can actually find those from the website. StanfordBlackAlumni.org is where you can find all of that. But there are just a couple of other things that are happening in the near future I want to draw to people's attention. I think they're pulling the cord on me. So again, you have the presentation. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Emmy Stenstead. I answered she, her. And Srini Srinivasan and I are the co-chairs of the Bay Area chapter of SPIE, Stanford Professionals in Energy. Next slide, please. We are very pleased to be part of this alum FLAN event. SPIE looks for opportunities to offer opportunities to stay current with cutting edge ideas. SPIE started in the halls of the business school in 2013 and has grown to over 2,000 members. Next slide, please. The mission of SPIE is to provide a platform for collaboration, inspiration, innovation, and professional development for energy professionals and energy enthusiasts. Next slide, please. We do this through things like speaker events, webinars, site tours, small group dinners, happy hours for alumni and friends. Next slide, please. SPIE has multiple chapters in the US and even globally, and you can join the SPIE group from the Stanford Alumni website. Join the leadership team, start a chapter, or just join for the community. Email Srini Srinivasan or me, Emmy Stenstead, if you have questions. Next slide, please. In summary, we live in a time of energy transformation. SPIE promotes conversation and inspiration around safe, affordable, equitable, reliable energy. Come SPIE with us. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. That is a hard act to follow. My name is Cindy Yu Robinson. I'm joined today by Clara Liu and Dan Kujiro and Selena Kwan. We are the Stanford Asian Pacific American Alumni Club. We are a national organization. So we don't have geographic chapters, but we do have some regional representatives. And I want to tell you a little bit about what we do, some of the benefits for joining SAPAAC. First of all, we went to a free lifetime membership model just a couple of years ago. That attracted me. And then one of my long-term goals myself was to become a member of this board. And I'm really glad that I've been able to reconnect with Stanford and the members, a number of alumni across the age spectrum in also professions and disciplines. So we do Asian American alumni communications. We have events around the country. And we also have special members only updates. So that's for communication. We also network and learn from one another. We have a current book club going on, and we are planning for an upcoming virtual summit. The SAPAAC is the Stanford Asian Pacific American Alumni Summit. It's going to be 3 hours on September 26th. So by making it virtual, we're able to invite everyone without cost. We're going to follow that up with an event, hopefully in person next spring. Next slide. Where we could use your help. Well, you can see in the photo that there is a diversity in age and actually region. I participated in this event from my home in Raleigh, North Carolina. Our board is currently seeking up to 10 new members. We have 2-year terms. In the 2 years, we're serving in a number of ways that impact not just the Asian alumni community, but the Stanford community overall. We look for ways to bridge with all of you. So we have a group that deals with advocacy and education, both on campus and in the community. We've written many letters and supported many causes on the Stanford campus. We also liaison with the Asian American Activities Center, which serves our current students. And we're always about community building. We need your help with communications and digital presence. We have one social media account. We could definitely, we have two, sorry, Instagram and Facebook. And we do a lot of events and keep track of them and try to publicize them to the alumni across the country. And of course, technology. If you're not in technology, you're working with it. So come join us. We are a very collaborative group. We are small in numbers, but hope to be big in impact. Thank you so much. And I will turn it over to our next speaker.
Hi, my name is Anthony Gutierrez, class of '01. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm on the board of Stanford Pride. I'm a recent board member, so I probably don't have as extensive background with the history of Stanford Pride. I do know it's a very old organization which has some pretty deep roots. We're actually currently going through a revamping of our mission, and in the wake of kind of the social climate that we are in, we're looking at really diversifying our board and our representation. So we're actually doing a special election where we're looking for some representation from populations that aren't mostly represented in the Pride, trying to create an identity that's beyond the white cisgendered male kind of approach that sometimes the LGBTQA+ community has. So if you're someone who would like to be part of Stanford Pride, we're doing a special election here. So please go to our website. We're a national organization, so we do have some regional representation where there are some events. You could probably imagine what cities those are. Those are New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. I live in DC. There's a DC type of chapter. So we go nationally. There will be like little bitty pods in those particular cities that will have particular events. We do cultural events, informational events. In this virtual environment, we've been doing book clubs, things that will kind of bring together our membership. We have over 4,000 members, but as far as our active members, it's much smaller. It's a little bit of a snapshot. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm a relatively new member, but enthusiastic about this new board and the direction that we're looking at taking Stanford Pride. So thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Billman. I use he, him pronouns. I am a recent board member with the Stanford in Arts and Entertainment New York City chapter. We are a pretty awesome group, I think. We engage with, support, and celebrate alumni working in film, television, music, theater, dance, performance, visual arts, digital media, etc. If you can call it art, we love to have you. We have all sorts of events, talkbacks, mixers, happy hours, which I realize are similar to mixers. We've also had pop-up concerts. We've hosted various a cappella groups. I know that recently there was a stand-up comedy show, very recently, but pre-COVID. Obviously, our operations have been pared back since meeting in person and doing live performance has been impacted, but we have been still active. Namely, if you head on over to the multi-group page, which we linked towards the bottom here on the slideshow, stanford.nyc, that was created in collaboration with the Stanford Young Alumni Association, and was built over the course of the last couple of months. We also have created a general New York alumni directory, which we absolutely encourage other chapters not from New York to be inspired by and take up on their own. If you do happen to live in New York City and want to be listed to be contacted by other alumni, you can go to that link, fill out the form, and hopefully make some connections there. I did want to highlight one thing that I'm really proud of that we did in November. If we could go to the next slide. We put on this alumni showcase that we called Stanford Special Dinner. This was done in Midtown Manhattan, featured around 14 alumni performing original works. We had dancers, we had live performance singers, guitarists, accordion. Annie Sherman is an amazing singer as well. There was some straight theater, some, oh gosh, some original compositions. It was pretty fantastic. And next slide. We also had a performance by the absolutely fantastic New York-based alum performer M. The Myth. That's them on the right there, which then turned into a full-on dance party. It was all very fun, and we definitely, as soon as COVID is done, we'll be having more of these, with an emphasis actually on smaller scale apartment sort of soirees, if you will. We're definitely looking forward to the next group of alumni who happen to make it out to New York City, and absolutely would love to have you either as performers or consumers of the art. It's always a blast, and thank you for your time.
Awesome. So I'm Rita Martinez. I'm a class of 2012 Hum Bio major, and I'm VP of Stanford's Latinx Alumni Association. After seeing those pictures, I think I definitely should have pulled some more photos from our various events and social activities. But just to give you a little bit more background, our group is currently around 2,500 members strong. Our mission is essentially to build community, create opportunities, and offer support to the 11,000 Stanford Latino alumni around the world. So some of our big anchor events that I want to call out are, last year we actually held our first inaugural summit that brought together Latinx alumni from across the country and even globally. I believe we had about 500 alumni attend that event, including Julian Castro, who delivered a keynote speech, which was really, really awesome. And I think really just highlighted just how amazing and accomplished and diverse our community really is. And I think really reinvigorated us in having a lot more events and meetings, again, like regionally as well as nationally, to really bring forward a lot of these stories and inspire people to connect with each other and reconnect with the university. So that's been a lot of fun. We also do events like Nuestra Grad for graduation, and then we have Latino reunion events during homecoming weekend. Obviously, that's going to look a little different this year, and we'll be looking at opportunities for next year. But I think one of the big things I wanted to highlight is, you know, we have really strong regional chapters in SoCal, NorCal, Dallas, Texas, Chicago, DC, and New York. So definitely have a lot of opportunities for people that are interested in connecting with people and, you know, basically cultivating a community away from Stanford as you're graduating and kind of entering the alumni community. We are really excited to welcome new members. And I think ultimately for many of us, and, you know, including the FLAA community, oftentimes these alumni groups and affinity groups are a key source of, you know, career and professional guidance and support. And so that's definitely a key thing that drives our group's mission. And we're here to help connect you and support people across industries where, again, Latinx people are traditionally underrepresented. So we're excited to chat with you all today, and I'm excited to get to meet some of you. Thanks.
Hi, it's Maureen. I'm class of '89, poli-sci, she, her pronouns, and I would like to welcome you to look at joining Stanford Professional Women. We are a San Francisco Bay Area based club with over 700 members. So while we have women in the club name, we actually welcome all genders. So we're about creating opportunities to reconnect with Stanford for both professional and personal development. We have a wide age range. We have recent graduates to senior alumni, and also a wide range of professions represented, including folks that are even retired. We do large events with over 100 participants, but we also do small events, even smaller, less than 15. Some of our more regular events that we've done in the past, on an annual basis, we do a holiday tea the first weekend of December. We do a springtime dim sum in April. We also do a lot of speaker events with faculty. So we have, being close to Stanford, we have access to a lot of the professors. So we've had really great speakers. Maggie O'Neill from the GSB did a talk on does gender play a role in negotiation. We had Jeff Hancock last year talk about lies, trust, and technology, very timely. Tina Seelig has done a great talk on innovation is not brain surgery. And we've had Dan Klein do a couple workshops on improvisation. And all of these are really interactive, engaging talks that we've done. We also have alumni come and do talks. We had a great talk by a former alumni who is a winemaker and was talking about starting and running her own business, a sustainable winery, environmentally friendly. So it was really cool. We're always looking for volunteers. If you're looking to get involved and actually help plan events, lead events, we're looking for volunteers to do those things. We do an annual survey. We're working on that right now to get input from our members on what kinds of things they'd be interested in doing this year and participating in. We always do networking as part of our events and try to have fun and really create those opportunities for connection. So no matter where you are in your career, it's a great opportunity to meet other professionals. So we welcome you to join. It's free. We don't charge for any membership. Just go to the Stanford Alumni Association and join so that you can get on our mailing list to find out about our events. We do charge, the only charge we have is when we have to like rent a space and do catering because we have to recover our costs, but that's it. But please consider joining.
So we're gonna, Claire, if you could reload the slides, we have one more group that we need. The slides just need to be reloaded.
There you go. Thank you, everyone. My name's Anita Ekanem. I am class of 1995. And we just started the Stanford Alumni for Social Impact, Innovation, and Investing. Next slide. So really, for this group was started because I, as an alum, I actually graduated from Stanford. I was one of the ASSU co-presidents at that point. We had a council, left, did a bunch of great stuff, but then went into the social impact space before there was even one. And I remember walking into VCs with this great business plan, and they said, "You sound too much like a nonprofit." And then I would go to two nonprofits and they would say, "You sound too much like a business." You know, and so years later, after navigating all of that and being relatively successful, went back to Stanford and said, "Hey, what is there for people of all ages, of all centers, of all schools?" And didn't really find too much, even though I sort of reached out to a number of people. And so we began actually SASE, Stanford Alumni for Social Impact, Innovation, and Investing last year. And we are now up to almost, I think we have 95 people like so far. And really, for me, it's really important because this is about social impact across all sectors, right? And so we're getting amazing people sort of to congregate around that. Thus far, we've done a couple of virtual sessions, and we're sort of planning for more. The other reason why this is actually so important is that, you know, just like the social impact space wasn't even there when I was an undergrad, FLAN wasn't there either, right? And I'm definitely sort of a first generation. And for myself and others who are part of our alumni group, this point is really important. We know that first generations, both students and alum, actually have very unique challenges. And so as a group, you know, we actually take a look at impact, not only from a networking standpoint, but as a group of doers. And so we actually have already talked to SAAA, we've talked to the ASSU, and we want to talk to all of you to really sort of see how we can help. As alum, how can we sort of, you know, go past just the small groups and breakout sessions, and really, if you're interested in anything social impact, whether you're in tech, politics, et cetera, how can we actually sort of really work with you? So with that, if you can just forward 2 slides. And you can reach us online. Just go to sassy.com. It'll take you to the alumni site. Would really love for you to be sort of part of this. I think your voice is actually going to be really important to one of the things, or some of the things that we want to do as alum to help first generation, but also just students who are sort of going through the pandemic right now. Thank you so much. Again, Anita Akinem with Stanford Alumni, Social Impact, Innovation, and Investing. Thank you so much.
Right, so thank you one more time to all of the presenters. Round of applause. So now we're going to open it up for general Q&A. So if anybody has questions for our representatives, please feel free to ask those in the chat box, out loud, or in the private chat. I'm actually going to get started with one of the questions that was submitted. So this is for any of the club representatives. If you could share when you first got involved with the club, and if you were not a part of the community when you were a student, if you could share if that influenced your decision to join the club.
I'm happy to share my quick story about how I got involved with Latino alumni. So I actually never really participated in any events or programming for Latino alumni specifically while I was an undergrad. I grew up in a primarily, you know, Latino community, and I think when I first got to Stanford, I was so just, you know, overwhelmed and also excited and eager to kind of connect with a lot of different people and a lot of different backgrounds and learn from all of these groups that I really just didn't want to engage as much at the time with my, you know, the community that I already felt very much like at home with and comfortable with. And I definitely have some regret there. But for me, it was really in my post-grad experience where I decided to move to New York, and being originally from California, like that was a big cultural shift. And it took me even then a couple of years of, you know, going to some alumni events where I definitely had fun, but I also kind of felt myself like struggling to find like what is my community and like who do I really connect with. And when I first actually heard that SLAA was starting, you know, there was this movement around like, hey, anyone in local in like any area can just start an event, organize a happy hour, and see if there's interest in your city to have like a local chapter. And so that's essentially what I did in New York. And now, you know, New York has an official chapter that took, you know, a year or two to actually formalize, but it's really cool for me to think about, you know, kind of coming into a new city and trying to navigate, you know, the world professionally and then personally, and you know, seeing that there was this gap and there was this desire for people to connect with other Latino alumni and just have fun. Initially, it was very social, but honestly, I just organized a few happy hours, got some, you know, volunteers that were really excited to be involved, and we kind of just started meeting and partnered closely with Pedro from SIAA, who was at the time the VP of SLAA, and it all kind of like snowballed from there, and it's been a ton of fun since then. So that's my story, and hopefully, you know, maybe it resonates with some of you, but it was very, very fun and invigorating for me. And it's kind of why I'm still involved today. And there's always new people to meet across the country. And yeah, it's been extremely rewarding to me. So still working through stuff, but yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And I think someone else had their hand raised. April, did you want to go?
Sure. I got involved with Stanford WIN in 2016. I've been living outside of the country for about 2 years then, and when I moved to the Bay Area, I wanted to reconnect with Stanford, and the focus on social justice and feminism really resonated with me. They also at the time had a their annual Women's Impact retreat, and it was focused on professional development and basically kind of like finding your why. And since I was a traumatized PhD candidate at that point, I needed to like re-find my why. So it was very good timing for me. And once I got involved with the group and saw the kind of activities that they engage in and the opportunities that they offer for growth, they kind of just suckered me in. And I joined the board about 1.5 years after that.
Thank you for sharing, April. So I have a question submitted, and this is for Matthew. So the question is, how has life been like in New York City during the pandemic for people in the entertainment field? And how has this impacted the club? I guess this is also a general question about how clubs who have functioned in person have been impacted during this time.
Yes, that's a big question. All of my peers who are in the performing arts as their main job right now are really hurting. I would say a majority, perhaps a very large majority of those friends are on unemployment right now. Many are having trouble paying rent. It's quite tough in New York City to be an artist. That being said, a lot of artists that I do know, and in particular a good number of the Stanford alumni in entertainment board members and those other members of the group that I know and hang out with, they all have either side gigs that they've turned into their main gig, like myself in the last couple of months, or some have left the city. Some are going and they're living with parents. It's really patchwork in how people are coping and managing with the situation. I will say that there has been a lot of support amongst artists for other artists, particularly online. I've seen so many, Zoom cabarets are a big thing right now. I'm in the musical theater community, so that's really what I can speak for. And you see a lot of really creative things happening. There are people getting creative with even like how they manage the equalization on their Zoom calls to create cool voice effects. I've not been doing hardly any performance myself. I've been lucky to get a couple of recording gigs from. One was from a Stanford professor, actually, and then a couple other just really small things. But I can definitely tell you that we're looking forward to live performance coming back. I think in New York, at least, things seem to be pretty good, definitely on the upswing. And we might see that happening sooner rather than later, but we have to be absolutely vigilant and heed the advice of authorities on health matters there. So I hope that answered your question. It's not a very happy answer, but we are coping for the most part.
Thank you for sharing. Did any other groups want to share how their clubs have transitioned to virtual events? Those of you who didn't get a chance to touch on it in the presentation.
I can go real quick. Maureen for Stanford Professional Women. So we are actively replanning right now. And so that's one of the things I mentioned. We're going to be surveying our membership because we want to see what creative ideas people have, what people might want to do. I think there's still opportunity to do stuff. One of the ideas actually we're going to do in September is do a virtual tour of the Anderson Museum at Stanford. So we've got a docent lined up and we're going to do it over lunch hour kind of thing. But we're looking for other ideas too. So we're going to get input from our members. And I'm sure there's creative things that we can do in a safe way and still connect and create those opportunities for networking.
This is Anite. It's actually funny. It took us a little bit of time to sort of get up and running. And literally when we were going to start doing sort of our first events, COVID like totally hit. And so just like you, Maureen, we are like literally in the middle of planning. And for us, it's actually more like shifting since we have done some things, but it's actually been really great to go back and connect, for example, with the various centers on campus, because it actually opened up a number of like new opportunities that just weren't there before around them sort of connecting with alum, especially in the impact sector, and what that might look like as an offshoot of some of the great work that they're doing on campus, right? You have academics who are doing really great things, and how do we actually, and then you have real practitioners and a lot of just amazing alumni, and we're finding really great ways to sort of marry that. And for us, it's also about, hey, how can we actually, teach new folks the social impact landscape, so to speak, since it's a little bit more developed than it was when I was coming out of Stanford. And so that's actually been really, really interesting too.
All right, thank you for sharing. So now we're going to wrap up the Q&A part, and we're going to shift the questions over to breakout rooms. So we're going to start breakout rooms that will be mixed up. Those of you who requested to talk to specific groups, we'll try to match you up. So we'll have about 10 minutes for these groups, and then we'll wrap up.
Since we're gonna stop the recording here, I just wanted to say hello to everyone watching and thank you for joining us. We're also gonna share out the slides, so feel free to click the links and check out all the wonderful groups that presented. Thanks to everyone who shared more about their alumni clubs and their journey as Stanford alumni.